is she still in this? Why is her dad making all of her decisions?
What do we want? Free Britney!
One for the party, two for the shawty, three for the shake your bum, bum, bum.
Hello and thanks for joining us for our weekly film show. We're starting with the Britney Spears documentary that's coming out in France this week. The so-called Princess of Pop is 40 now, and since 2008, the courts have given her father complete legal control over her life and her estate, valued at $60 million. We're joined by our film critic, Lisa Nesselson. Now, hi, Lisa. Hope you're doing well. Framing Britney Spears is totally fascinating. What did you think of it?
Well, I didn't know there was a Free Britney Spears movement, but the doc establishes fairly convincingly why one might be needed. Fans, and there are lots of them, are worried. It's as if the Princess of Pop is being unfairly held in a castle and may need our help to escape. Britney Spears grew up in a modest family in a small town in Mississippi where from the age of 10, everybody knew she had a powerhouse vocal delivery. She was cute and polite and destined for fame. Well, she may as well have had a sign on her forehead saying, "Media, eat me alive."
Okay, well, let's take a look.
Britney was so focused. This is a girl that's coming from strength.
People became fascinated with her sort of unraveling.
How we treated her was disgusting.
She accepted the conservatorship was going to happen, but she didn't want her father to be conservative.
Anytime there's that amount of money to be made, you have to question the motives of everyone.
Why is her dad making all of her decisions? Why is she still in this?
What do we want? Free Britney!
Now, there have been a lot of documentaries about famous singers. Billie Holiday recently, Tina Turner right now. This one, though, is quite different, isn't it?
Well, they're all worthwhile, although at first I found it mildly disconcerting that the New York Times has branched out into making feature documentaries about pop stars. But because the New York Times has its own reputation to protect, the approach is both informative and respectful. There seems to be a certain rigor to the way this is assembled, the people interviewed, the tone. Among the things most of us wouldn't like, I think having another person completely in charge of what we can or can't do would be high on the list, and that's the situation Britney Spears has been in since 2008. Her father calls the shots as her legal conservator. The recent film I Care a Lot doesn't put conservators in a positive light, but that's a work of fiction for which Rosamund Pike won the Best Actress Golden Globe. Britney Spears' court-appointed captivity is for real.
Now, one interviewer asks her if she's a virgin. Another asks her about her breasts. I can't believe that was ever okay. Being famous in America has surely changed a lot since then.
How much time do we have for me to collapse in hysterical laughter? In a vintage clip from when Britney appeared to be having a mental health meltdown, and TV anchors pronounced her situation sad. We see Michael Moore tell Larry King and Anderson Cooper, how about we just leave her alone, and then maybe her story wouldn't be so sad. That seems obvious and humane, but when a photo of a celebrity looking angry, or better yet, outright deranged, can sell for as much as $1 million, well, it's not surprising that the paparazzi would try to antagonize the celebrity to improve their chances of getting that kind of shot. Britney showed a lot of grace under pressure until she didn't. And for now, she's communicating with the outside world, not via music, but via Instagram.
Well, I can definitely recommend Framing Britney Spears, definitely worth a watch for you guys out there. Now, French director Bertrand Tavernier died last week, and the outpouring of appreciation has been enormous. Can you situate his life and career for us?
Well, Tavernier died a month shy of his 80th birthday. He's a household name in France, and his championing of movies was cherished by film enthusiasts the world over, including close friend Martin Scorsese. There's a saying that each time a person dies, a library burns. Well, in Tavernier's case, that is especially true. His knowledge of French and also American cinema and Italian, Japanese, you name it, was absolutely encyclopedic. Fellow director Claude Lelouch called Tavernier the greatest film buff among French directors. He was the president of the Lumiere Institute in his native Lyon, named for and housed in the residence of the Lumiere brothers, who pioneered motion pictures starting in 1895.
And he directed close to 30 films. He helped produce others. Tell us about his oeuvre.
Well, he was unapologetically on the left and incorporated social issues into many of his films, from colonial corruption in Coup de Torchon, Clean Slate, to young people bereft of moral compasses in La Pas, The Bait. He made one of the rare early documentaries about the Algerian War. He tackled the education system in underprivileged rural French communities, and decades ago addressed the fact that local police departments don't have enough manpower or funds to do their jobs. He made several films in English or partly in English. Round Midnight was the story of a Black American jazz musician in Paris. Herbie Hancock's score won the Oscar for Best Original Score. Tavernier's most recent films include Quai d'Orsay, the French minister, adapted from a best-selling graphic novel about Dominique de Villepin preparing a historic speech to stand up to U.S. hegemony. That doesn't sound riveting, but it was, and funny. And he made a wonderful documentary series called My Journey Through French Cinema, which started with his childhood in Lyon and explained why he loved the work of certain directors. I defy anybody to watch it and not want to seek out the films of which he speaks so well.
Well, our colleagues on the French channel interviewed Bertrand Tavernier in 2014. He explained what it took for him to embark on making a film.
I need to fall in love with a story, with a character. I'm not going to do something I've already done, and I want to finish a film and feel a little bit less stupid than from when I started the process.
That was the late Bertrand Tavernier talking to France 24 in 2014. Now, Lisa, every year the Alice Guy Prize is awarded to a French film directed by a woman. This year's winner has been announced, Lisa. Tell us more.
Minion, or Cuties, was chosen as the best out of the 77 films eligible. And if that title sounds familiar, well, vast numbers of irate Americans canceled their Netflix subscriptions because the subscription streaming service was showing this, and they thought it obscenely sexualized children. Now, Fatia Yusuf, now 14, plays 11-year-old central character torn between her family's African rituals and wanting to fit in with her new friends from the outskirts of Paris, who have a dance group called Les Minions and are training for a local dance contest. Fatia won the Promising Female Newcomer Trophy at the Césars Awards at the end of February, and in real life, she is poised and dynamic and clearly not traumatized by the experience of having made the film. Now, I slogged through hundreds of reader comments in the U.S., and so many people who don't seem to know the difference between acting in real life were so worried for these poor young girls who they believe will never recover from doing silly, sexy dances copied off the internet. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz stated on American TV that, quote, every pedophile in America will watch this, end quote, and filed for the state of Texas to take Netflix to court for showing it. And sure enough, Texas ruled that it falls under their definition of child pornography. Needless to say, it's a serious social drama and not remotely pornographic. Take a look.
T'étais où là? T'as foutu quoi? J'étais en retard. En retard? Je suis désolée, Me dis pas... Non, tu l'as volé? Oh la dégueulasse, j'y comprends pas!
À quoi tu joues là, ami? Qui es-tu, ami?
Laisse couler l'eau, ma chérie. Les péchés s'effacent avec.
Vous avez quel âge?
14.
Award-winning director Maimouna Doucouré is outspoken and gifted and certainly not a pornographer. Senator Cruz might be interested to learn that Netflix didn't produce a frame. All they did was purchase the finished film, which was funded in great part by French government bodies that support diversity in filmmaking. The prize the film won is named for French film pioneer Alice Guy, who shot hundreds of short films, starting when the movies started 125 years ago.
Well, speaking of women, Films de Femmes, or the world's largest women's film festival, will be holding its 43rd edition at the start of April. It's nearly 50 years since this event started, and since then we've seen a lot more women making films, haven't we?
Well, when I was a handful, and I do mean a handful of women at my film school in the 1970s, I made a short film with the fetchingly ironic title, Women Can't Make Movies, and looked forward to the day when the world's movie theaters would be full of films directed by women. And hooray, it's happening in my lifetime. This event usually takes place in the Paris suburb of Créteil in an atmosphere of unapologetic girl power. But due to the pandemic, it's being held entirely online this year. But even relocated to the internet, the programming is as wide-ranging as ever in its mission to seek out and celebrate interesting flicks made by chicks.
So what are you most looking forward to?
Well, the film Fat Front has me intrigued. Two Danish women directed this documentary about 4 young women who are substantially overweight, but living according to the tenets of fat positivity and self-acceptance. The opening film, Eden, is a Hungary, Romania, Belgium co-production by Agnes Kosis about a woman who is completely allergic to her environment. The theme is an important one as new illnesses like electrical sensitivity emerge, and the visuals look terrific.
The offerings can only be viewed here in France, but the festival is a bargain. Just €15 opens the digital doors to the entire programme within the number of seats available for each digital show.
And the festival is honoring the wonderful Italian photographer and documentary maker Cecilia Mangini, who was born in 1927 and died in January. They're showing 2 forgotten boxes about the trip she and her husband took to war-torn Vietnam in 1965, hoping to make a film they never finished. 50 years later, she came across the 2 boxes of the title filled with photos she had taken.
Okay. Lisa, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. We'll leave you now with a glimpse of 2 forgotten boxes. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.